Well, we get to talk to another founding principal. And so maybe, Ben, you could give us a little background into the route that brought you to NAC.
Living and working in Montana in an architectural community where there was not enough work to go around caused me to want to broaden my horizons, and very consciously my wife and I made a trip to the Northwest, stopped first in Spokane, then we went to Seattle and then Portland, had wonderful interviews, had a phone call from Bill Trogdon while we were traveling saying, "Come back, I want you to meet my partner." And I had a job before we got back to Montana. So it was an adventure in wanting to see a different part of the country and work in a larger environment, which is not too different from what NAC wanted to do. We wanted to become, at that time, Northwest. We wanted to work beyond our limits and just go where we couldn't ever think of going alone. I decided I wanted to be an architect when I was in junior high school. We were living in Billings, Montana, which is the largest city. My father was managing a very large division of the gas utility company, and instilled in me the idea that you have to work in a community. That gave me sort of the inspiration to do what he was doing, but do it on a professional basis.
I mean, community engagement probably has been core to what we do right from the beginning.
Absolutely. Even back in the Trogdon Smith days, before it was Trogdon Smith Grossman and we grew, I have these wonderful documents that were created where we consciously were deciding what contribution we could make to the community as part of our work. And there was a formula. One time we decided it was going to be 5% of our productive time was going to be given back to the community. Architects have a natural ability to lead diverse situations and find an answer to complicated problems.
One of the examples that everyone talks about in you is the mentor that you've been.
I sort of learned early on that mentoring means a lot. It's part of architecture being your whole life, not just a job, you know, and so I have considered that a privilege.
Your contributions to NAC have been great from a lot of perspectives, but one was the sort of opening of the healthcare market and developing that and turning it into a significant part of our portfolio.
You know, so many things start in the beginning. I started out doing radiology suites for while we were back in the early firm. But I think the breakthrough project was the Rockwood Clinic, and it was an unusual clinic because I think there was 80 doctors in that group. And I have a wonderful letter from one of the doctors that said, "I don't know how you did it, you pleased us all." And we all have egos that are larger than life, and he was right. But that clearly put us in the medical market, and for some reason we managed to work at one time simultaneously with 3 competitive hospital systems. I don't know how we did it, but we just did it with service. All we have is service, no politics, just service. And they understood that. They got what they needed and they appreciated it.
A lot of the healthcare work involved interiors. Sometimes it was solely interiors. What kind of insights do you have on interior design and integration with architecture?
I think as we sat around the table, the 10 of us, or at one time the 15 of us, we talked a lot about complete architecture, and that it wasn't just street view architecture. At the same time, about the same time, then we formed Inscape, and they ran this unbelievably neat firm. We did all of the city hall, a warehouse basically converted to a city hall with state-of-the-art interiors, That was a wonderful time, and it was part of what brought us together, because there was a unifying factor in that we were all excited about that. Was it easy? No. Ultimately, we abandoned that as a retail business, but we never lost the thought of Inscape. And there's some wonderful issues of architects showing our wares as an interiors firm. And it's still here. Very few firms have as large an interiors business as we have. And that has been, and always will be, I think, a part of our trademark.
One of the other roles you had was sort of the spiritual leader of what we called the management committee at one point in time.
Well, yes, I guess due credit, the management committee was created by Bob Grossman. That was his idea. And we did a lot of very good management, tracking profit and loss by project, by office, by understanding where we were being successful financially, and then applying that to good decisions. I liked that kind of work. I thought it was a contribution that I could make that was different than a lot of other people. After all we have to give is ourselves, our talent, and so we had to make sure that opportunities were there for emerging people. I still believe that's the strength of NAC. We said we were going to build it to last. We've seen firms cave in 15, 20 years. 25 was unusual. We're now up to 55. And I mean, that's utterly amazing. So I think it was a good philosophy. I guess another thing, normally you hear about it's an art and a science. So it's the aesthetics and it's the technical. But I think architecture is also a philosophy. It's all about people, and the people that we serve and the satisfaction we get in seeing the buildings in their final state, and to get into the head of the client and lead them into making good decisions about what we present. I just find it's fascinating. We've stayed grounded into the thing that's the most important, the things that are most important, which is client needs, clients, make a happy bunch of people in the world who love their buildings.
Well, thanks, Ben. We appreciate the insights that we gain each time we do one of these. So thank you much.
You're very welcome. It was a privilege to be an architect in this firm.